Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Jayson.
And today we're going to tell you how we felt about the Flash pilot. Now Jayson is with me today, partially because Sarah and I were going to do this review and she didn't have a chance to see it before now, and we're going to have the first episode of Flash Discussions up pretty soon, so we needed to go ahead and get this up. I wanted to make sure that we put out a video to tell folks whether or not we think they might enjoy it, depending on their taste, if they haven't watched it yet, before we do the full-blown, in-depth discussion about the first episode. But the other thing is, Jayson is a really big Flash fan.
Yeah.
Jayson, is Flash one of your favorite DC superheroes?
Yeah.
Jayson likes a lot of stuff that I've never been as big into. But this show has got me so much more excited for Flash than I ever have been. Jayson, why do you like the Flash so much?
Because he's red, and that's my first favorite color.
Okay, is that what? And do you like his powers?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you like people that can move really fast?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk briefly here about the Flash pilot. Like I said, we're going to have, Dan and I are going to do a full-blown, in-depth discussion on this, and you'll have that in just a couple of days. But Jayson, let's go ahead and get started. So the pilot, if you've not seen it, is, of course, the origin of the Flash, and it jumps off from Barry Allen's introduction in Arrow, and it actually builds on that scene, which I was kind of surprised by, where he gets struck by lightning, and it fleshes all of his kind of a life and Central City out around him. And the major crux of it is the backstory about his mother being killed, and it seeming to have something to do with Flash powers. Of course, I know what that is, but if you haven't seen it, I'm not gonna tell you too much about that. But he's been kind of letting his life go and making it all about trying to find that killer, or what exactly happened to his mother, because his father's been in jail all this time, and he wants to get justice for his dad, because everybody thinks he's a murderer, which is instantly, I think, sympathetic and compelling. And then when the particle accelerator gives him his powers, we discover that it's also created a lot of other things, and there are consequences for lots of other people in the city, and other people are getting power, and there's kind of this whole like God versus hero motif going on, responsibility versus trying to take over and see yourself as better than everyone. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. It's really dense, and now we're going to tell you how we felt about it. Jayson, how did you feel about it? Can you show us your sign?
Yeah.
Okay, what did you write?
I write, what? Flash in a box?
Flash in a box?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? Was Flash in a box?
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh, okay. So why did you write Flash in a box?
I don't know.
You don't know? That's how it made you feel.
Yeah.
Like Flash was in a box, like the TV is a box?
Yeah, TV is box.
All right. So did you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Okay, what were some of your favorite things about it?
Well, my favorite part was Barry Allen changing into his costume.
Into his costume?
Yeah.
Do you think his costume looks good?
Yeah.
Is it pretty neat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What do you think about what the special effects look like?
Yeah.
Does it look really good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you think Barry Allen was likable?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you like him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he kind of a fun guy?
Yeah.
What else? Was there anything that you didn't like about it? Was there anything you thought didn't work?
I thought Arrow did work.
Oh, did you like the Green Arrow was in it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that pretty neat? Now,
Yeah.
do you remember Barry Allen from last season? Do you remember him? Excuse me. Do you remember them setting him up in Arrow?
No.
Oh, you don't remember that?
No.
So there were 2 episodes where they brought in Barry Allen, and they set up his getting electrocuted and becoming the Flash in that show. What's really cool, by the way, is if you haven't seen that, it's not a big deal. They do a perfect job of bringing you in and making all of that work, regardless of whether or not you've seen Arrow. It is an incredibly confident show. It's very sure of itself. It has a totally different feel and tone from Arrow, but certainly feels like it could be in the same universe. It's got that very comic book thing of these characters all exist in the same world, but you go to different books for different things, depending on your taste or maybe even your mood. If you feel like you're in a really brooding kind of mood, you might want to watch Arrow. If you feel a little more lighthearted and like you want something a little bit more fun and optimistic, you go to Flash. And I was really impressed that it wasn't relying too much on that prior continuity or on Arrow. So Jason, go ahead and flip your sign. I'm assuming you're feeling it.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So Jason likes it. Also, part of the reason that I wanted to bring Jason in was because I think this is a really good family show. I think that TV needs shows like this and needs this show specifically. Not just in the superhero realm, but just in television in general. This is a show that you can sit down and watch with your kids, I think. And I said that last year about S.H.I.E.L.D., but I think that this show even more so because it's very classic comic book. I'm seeing people saying that this is kind of like modern Silver Age stuff brought to screen. I agree with that. It's not that there's no weight to it. It's not that it's like really, it's light to the point where there's like nothing to it. There's emotional weightiness to it, but it's incredibly optimistic. It has a main character who is a traditional, really good role model for kids, and that's the thing that I really like about it. What I wrote is I feel like this episode made me feel like I finally got to see my favorite superhero impeccably realized on screen. And you might say, well, Captain Logan, Flash isn't your favorite superhero. And that's my point. I was giddy through this whole thing. I had a giant smile on my face going all the way through this show. And I'm not a big Flash fan, but I could tell that the people making this show have an incredible reverence for the source material. They're not doing like what we were doing at the beginning of Arrow. And for good reason that happened then and this is happening now. Certainly, things have changed, and Arrow helped to change them, so yay for that. You couldn't have had this first. It's sort of like you need 89 Batman before you could have Batman in the animated series. But with the beginning of Arrow, they felt like they couldn't just straight up make a Green Arrow show. They felt like they could use the Green Arrow comics as kind of a starting place, and then they could use that as a starting place, but then they had to kind of make it its own thing and try to bring in non-comic book people. This just straight up does the Flash. It's just this is the Flash. This is Flash comics brought to screen. Certainly, again, in that same universe as Arrow, there are differences, but they're not shying away from anything. He's got a costume. They do the really heightened comic book stuff, the pseudoscience. You got this huge giant mega tornado in the last scene. I mean, toward the end. It's so incredibly comic book. It's fantastic, and there's so much reverence. Of course, a lot of that comes from Jeff Johns. He's helping to run the show. I think he's involved in the show at large. But then he co-plotted the first episode, and I like what Flash I read of Jeff Johns. I really like the stuff he did with Captain Boomerang. I hope when Captain Boomerang finally shows up, and I can expect it. I can probably expect it really soon, which is exciting. You know, they're doing the Rogues. We got Weather Wizard first episode. I kind of feel like I'm kind of hoping that Jeff Johns gets to come in and do the Captain Boomerang episode. But I mean, like I'm beaming right now because this show made me feel like a Flash fan all the way through it, and I'm not a Flash fan. I just kept going through this, feeling kind of like I did when I saw Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Oh boy, I get to see this character that I love brought to screen. But with that, it was because I already love Spider-Man, and there he is, and the people making it clearly love Spider-Man. With this, the people making this love the Flash, and it's contagious. A couple of, let me mention a couple of other things real quick before we leave you, and then, like I said, thorough Flash discussions coming soon. We got John Wesley Shipp playing Barry Allen's father, and he's one of my favorite things about this show. I thought he might just be a cameo. I thought he might just pop in a flashback. He's going to be a mainstay. He's going to be a recurring character, and there's a lot of stuff going on with that character. He's very clearly going to be pretty defined and have some dimension, and he's instantly interesting. I like that actor a lot. I think it's a really cool coup that they got him, and that we've got this legacy thing going on, because Flash has always been about legacy. So how much sense does it make for John Wesley Shipp to get to play the Flash's dad? I love that. Jason, have I shown you the old show yet? The original Flash?
No.
Okay, I'll have to show you that at some point, because Flash's dad in this used to play the Flash. Isn't that cool?
Oh.
Yeah. And anyway, so that's really exciting. The cast is phenomenal. The scientist guy who creates all of this, there's a ton of interesting things going on with him, and he seems to feel really bad about creating the accident that created the Flash, and there's friction there, friction. But then you find out that there's a lot more going on with him. He is a fascinating character right out the gate. I like everybody. I like Iris. The only real complaint I have so far about the show proper, let me just say that, like I said, it's really dense. I can't believe how much actual story is happening in the first episode. It's one of the best pilots I've ever seen for that. I mean, I felt like I watched either a condensed Flash film, origin film, or the first 45 minutes of a really good Flash movie. I can't believe how much got done. Not to mention that it's screen-worthy. I mean, it's really cinematic looking. I can't believe that those effects are television. Really, really good. And I've said that about some of the Arrow special effects. I feel like they've gone even farther with it. The only complaint I have is I'm not loving the love triangle thing yet. And I always complain about love triangles, I know. But Iris and Barry Allen immediately have some good chemistry, and I feel like they're deflating what could be really kind of fun and interesting about them by giving us a traditional TV love triangle right out the gate. I'm not real excited about that. There's also Jason mentioned Arrow showing up. And I don't feel like that's too much of a spoiler, not just because it was in all the promos, but also because to do a proper spin-off, you ought to do that. I've always thought that. I always think that's really cool. And again, they don't rely too much on the Arrow thing, but he is in a scene, and the contrast between him and Flash is fantastic. Like bringing him in reminds us why this show is a good idea, because it's so polar opposite from Arrow in a lot of ways, and like I said, I'll discuss that later. But there is a thing that he says in that about destiny that kind of bugged me a little bit, and I'll talk about that later. Anyway, I loved it. I'm feeling it. The pilot, I'm gonna go as far as to say spectacular. It was spectacular. So anyway, if you have not been watching Arrow but you're interested in the Flash, I'll say this: if you are more of a Superman fan than a Batman fan, watch Flash, because it's kind of got that thing. I feel like Flash is, and like I think a lot of people are going to compare this to Spider-Man. There is some Spider-Man here, but I also feel like there's some Superman here, because Flash is just immediately an altruistic stand-up guy who believes in helping people for the sake of helping people, and he doesn't start from that revenge place. And so he is Superman to Green Arrow's Batman. So it's sort of of like we've got a Batman show and a Superman show going on, except it's Flash and Green Arrow, and they're not just stand-ins for those characters, though. They're still their own thing. So if that entices you, if that's interesting to you, I want to say that you can watch this without watching Arrow, and you will not be lost. You'll have no problem with it. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. That's how I felt about it. And Jayson, I'm glad you liked it. Do you want to keep watching it?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is so cool that I've got another show that I can watch with Jayson. Every now and again with S.H.I.E.L.D., I'm a little bit borderline now. Every now and again they'll do something in that show where I'm like, I don't know if a 4-year-old should be watching this. And that could happen with Flash, but right out the gate, it feels like it's a show that, it feels like a show that I would have wanted to be watching when I was a kid. And anyway, really, really good stuff. I'm glowing. I just freaking loved it. Anyway, looking forward to seeing how other people felt about it, and we will have the first episode of Flash discussions for you very soon. I'm really excited to talk about it with Dan Torrey. Jayson, thanks for helping me out, buddy.
Yep.
Thanks everybody for watching. We sure appreciate it. I am Captain Logan.
And I'm Jayson, and I'm Floss.
We'll see you again soon.